Angry MGTOW here, and today we're discussing why women are not trying to heal the damage that they created with feminism. Seriously, I'm not even gonna play the intro. Fuck it. We're just gonna jump straight into it. So we're gonna. So we're just gonna talk about why women are not trying to not trying to heal the damage that they created with feminism, and it can be a little bit overwhelming when you think about how bad things have gotten between men and women, and how severe the relationship are between the sexes. Men and women are having a hard time even communicating with each other anymore because there's a lack of trust. The irony is that on the side of women, women have been so indoctrinated that a lot of women believe that men are aggressors. They believe a lot of the crazy statistics that feminists have spouted out. And it's really alarming that this has occurred, but I don't foresee it changing anytime soon. At the same time, a lot of women are backing away from feminism, especially the label now, and saying they don't want to be called feminists, they are not feminist, despite the fact that they agreed with just about everything feminists got for them. They don't want to be a part of the movement, they don't want to be associated with the label, but they're not doing anything actively to heal the damage that feminism caused between men and women, to heal the rift that feminism caused between men and women. In many ways, they're saying, okay, yeah, well, feminism came along, things aren't good between men and women, we don't want to be feminist anymore, men come back and serve us. And it's problematic because women don't seem to realize that, men were affected very badly by feminism. Men have been damaged by feminism. Men no longer trust women because of feminism, because female nature ran rampant. And it's a little sad. It's frustrating that women are not able to see this. I believe that there are women can do have the capacity to control their nature, but many of them see no reason to do so, especially in in a world where women are essentially allowed to get away with murder, literally get away with murder. So Fun Bun says I was anticipating the intro. Honestly, dude, I'm sorry about that. I should have set up the intro beforehand, but I will get the intro for you guys in the next video. But at the end of the day, look at the Women's March on Washington. It was filled with narcissistic women. You had women like Scarlett Johansson at this march talking about her first visit to the gynecologist, as though this was some paramount move for being a woman. It's like it's really upsetting. Women seem to put themselves on a pedestal. They think because they bleed between their legs, they get an extra, they have it so much more difficult than the rest of the population. They think that there's something noble about being a woman. What the hell is wrong with you? Men are simply born. We are born and we stand up and we live and we work and we do what we have to do to survive. That's what it means to be a man. Women, on the other hand, it's like they seem to think that they're these goddesses, and everything has to be a speech. Everything has to be a speech. Everything has to be monumental. One step for woman, one giant leap for womankind. I mean, it just never seems to end with women. And it's just ridiculous that they don't ever acknowledge that feminism has damaged the relationship between the genders severely, and they're at the forefront of feminism. To this day, feminist women in general are literally separating themselves from the feminist movement. How many videos have I made where literally you have women talking about why they're not feminist, and in each of these scenarios, these women are basically saying, I'm not a feminist I agree with first wave and second wave, but I don't agree with third wave. And I am not a feminist. And they're acting like they had nothing to do with feminism, or it's like something they can just disassociate themselves with like that. I think of it as pretty damn ridiculous because they were fully involved with feminism. They pioneered it. They pushed it forward. They fought for it. They argued for it. And now they don't want to have anything to do with it. It doesn't work like that. You can't just abandon it like that. I've said it before that women are going to find themselves completely alienated. They're going to find themselves in a circumstance where men are not even going to want to engage them, speak to them, let alone have anything to do with them. That is the position that they've put themselves in. And it wasn't the government that did this, it was women that did this. It was women that put themselves in this position. It was women that used the courts to attack men and to extract wealth and resources from men. It was women who chose to have men kicked out of the households. It was women who used weapons to attack men and to take their lives, and then claim that they did it out of self-defense. Because don't forget that more men will be killed by a girlfriend or a spouse than women will be killed by a husband or a boyfriend. That's a fact. I mean, the relationship between men and women has become so broken, and women don't even seem to realize that you were wrong. You created this mess. I mean, a starting point of trying to repair the fractured relationship between men and women, which I don't even think can happen, would literally be acknowledging where the problem started, how the problem started, and that it wasn't men who created this problem. It was you. It was you and your deception, you and your narcissism. And women have to take responsibility for what has happened. They have to open up and they have to say, we were wrong. We did this. You can blame some men. You can blame some men for feminism. You can blame them for not standing up to the women when it happened, but you can't excuse the fact that women are the ones who did this. You can't excuse the fact that they're the ones who pushed all of this forward. Feminism is a miserable thing. It has led to severe ramifications for society, falling birth rates. I mean, it has just been downright ridiculous and painful. And through it all, women still don't acknowledge it. They complain about why they hate feminism, but they don't acknowledge the role that they played in feminism. They don't acknowledge that they were responsible for feminism. They don't acknowledge that they even benefited from feminism, that they're still benefiting from feminism. They don't acknowledge that they don't actually want feminism itself to go away. They want the label to go away. They want the stigma to go away, but they want to keep all the privileges that they gained. And this is why I'm saying, this is why I'm pointing out that women are not trying to heal the damage that they have created with feminism. If anything, they're only digging the trenches deeper. I mean, so many women went out, rode the cock carousel, and now they want a good man. Now they want a man that's going to take care of them, that's going to be there for them, that's going to share his resources with them. But what do they actually have to offer? Nothing. What do they actually have to give? Nothing. This is what feminists have done. This is the world that feminists have left us in. And females, women, are the ones who have to actually step forward and say, we did this. We're responsible for this. We caused this problem and no one else. But that's something that women have a hard time doing. We've talked about it before that women don't have agency. They cannot be held accountable for anything unless men hold them accountable. Unless we say, "No, you're wrong, you're responsible, you are going to be held accountable for what has happened." Unless we hold them accountable, women are just never accountable for anything. It's something that I find frustrating, upsetting, and downright miserable. But we have to own up to it. We have to acknowledge that for us to move forward, feminism and what has happened as a result of feminism falls at the feet of women. Men have not benefited from feminism. We've been hurt by feminism. We've had our lives destroyed by as a result of feminism. We've been alienated because of feminism. These are all the things that have happened as a result of feminism. Feminism has also empowered the mangina to keep attacking, to keep taking advantage, to keep using, abusing. Feminism is good, but has been good for the mangina. Turd Flinging Monkey made a really interesting point. When we did the most recent Angry Monkey podcast, he said something. He said that the weak, effeminate men, these guys, in the past, they would never have been allowed to reproduce. These type of men would be eunuchs, servants, or slaves. But at no point would they have children. At no point would they actually have a say in society. And they definitely would not have children. But in modern society, they've been given the chance to have children. They've been given the chance to have families, to have a say when they really don't deserve one. Because they don't want to be men. Why do you think they hide behind feminism? They hide behind feminism because they are weak and effeminate men who are not capable of standing up for themselves. They don't want to be men. What they want to be is cared for. They basically want to live off someone else's labor. That's what we're dealing with. Those are the type of men that we are dealing with. And it sounds harsh to say it that way, but we need a dose of reality right now, because we've been living in a society where we don't want to be honest, we don't want to say things the way that they really are. We don't want to see things the way that they really are. And the way things really are right now is they're terrible. They're terrible. And I don't see them getting any better. I don't see things getting any better between men and women. I don't see a way going forward. At the same time, what are we going to do? Spend all our time fighting? Is our future essentially going to be one where men and women just sit around fighting each other for the next 20, 30 years? Because we've been doing that. And everyone's tired. We're all tired of fighting. We're tired of fighting each other. MGTOW are standing up and saying we've had enough and we're not doing this anymore. We're done fighting and arguing with women. We're going our own way. But the thing is, women are now coming back and saying, hey, guys, we need you. But they're not bringing anything to the table. Not even an apology. Not even an apology. Do you ever hear any of these women in these "Why I'm Not a Feminist Anymore" videos saying, guys, I'm sorry, men, I'm sorry? How many former feminists have you heard utter the words, men, I'm sorry? I'm sorry. They don't. Because they don't want to admit that they are wrong, that they were wrong. They don't want to be held accountable for anything. They can talk about the horrors of feminism. They can talk about the disparities of feminism. They can talk about the evils of feminism, but they will never own up to the role that they played in pushing feminism forward, in making feminism into the global dominion that it is today, into the cesspool that it is today. None of these women actually want to own up to the damage that feminism has done and that they were a part of. They say feminism is bad, but all they do is talk about how feminism hurts women. It hurts women, and then some of them say, and then some women say, oh, and by the way, it also hurts men. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. What women are now saying is literally this: feminism got us everything we wanted, now let's fight it together. They don't want to give anything back. They don't want to take a step backwards. They don't want to look back at the criminal justice system and look at how it disenfranchises men. There is a thing right now happening with white women, especially toward it's all women. Black women despise black men. They say the most deplorable things about black men. White women despise white men. They say the most deplorable things about white men. And then you have to wonder, who's the real racist here? Because they act like they stand above or outside of the same groups that they are belittling. There needs to definitely be dialogue between the sexes, but for any dialogue to actually happen, women actually have to admit that they fucked up. And it doesn't seem like it's possible for this generation of women to actually do so. Because at no point do I hear any so-called anti-feminists saying, women, we fucked up. Even Lauren Southern, I've never heard Lauren Southern say, yeah, we fucked up as women. She acts like the feminists are a separate group. Like she has nothing to do with them as a group. You know, I was talking with Roaming Millennial recently, and I invited her to come onto another podcast. We'll see if it happens. But she brought up the very notion of collectivist thinkers, women being collective thinkers. And the way I see it is like this. For people to show that they have autonomous thoughts, that they're able to think for themselves, they also have to be able to show that they take responsibility for their own actions. And one thing I don't see anti-feminists doing, a lot of them, is actually saying that women screwed up. Women screwed up. They don't say women screwed up, they say feminists did it. You guys act like feminists aren't women and this wasn't a women's movement. They act like feminism wasn't the women's movement. The women's movement was feminism. The women's movement was feminism. It was. Suffrage, women's suffrage, the right to vote. That was feminism, first wave feminism. So women have to stop disassociating themselves with feminism. They need to stop acting like feminism was something that someone else thought of and they just somehow, became a part of it and got wrapped up in it, but it wasn't, and now they're pushing themselves, they're pushing it away, but they don't have anything to do with it. I constantly hear feminist women or anti-feminists talk about feminists like they're some other species, like they say these feminists, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, you were a feminist. How do you say all these horrible things about feminists when you were just a feminist? And then it's like you don't even acknowledge the fact that you were a part of this group. You talk so much crap about feminists when you don't acknowledge that you were a feminist. You were a hardcore feminist. It's like you suddenly disassociate yourself with it. the only way going forward for men and women to actually meet somewhere in the middle will have to start with women actually admitting that they were wrong, that they had a role to play in feminism, that they had a primary role to play in feminism. Let's not even jump at second wave feminism and Gloria Steinem's involvement in the CIA. First wave feminism happened before all of that. Don't forget that it was the same feminists that pushed for prohibition. It was feminists that pushed for prohibition. And they got it. And it wasn't good for anyone. I want to know what you guys think in the comments section if you agree that women are not trying to heal the damage that they've created with feminism, and that the only way moving forward for men and women to actually begin to heal the damages done by feminism will be a starting point where women actually acknowledge the roles that they played in pushing feminism onto society, damaging society using feminism, and how men have been disenfranchised as a result of feminism. I want to know what you guys think in the comments section if you agree with that. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MGTOW or death. And cheers.